Hey guys, Tiffany Ofili Porter here, where I discuss all things life after sports. As you can see, I have a special guest, my sister, Cindy Sember, is in this thing, and we are going to be doing a collaboration video where we are discussing our most commonly asked questions. So it's going to be a sibling get to know us. You ready?
Let's do it.
Let's go ahead and just jump right into it.
With medals on her chest, she's proven her greatness, knows no rest, representing her countries with pride she stands.
All right, one of the first questions we always get asked, and it's a flattering question to me, maybe not to her, and you'll see why I'm saying that, but it is essentially, are we twins? What is the age difference?
Yep.
So, you want to break it down?
Yep. So we are 6.5 years different. So I am younger. Tiffany is older, obviously. Okay, it's not actually obvious. She looks very young for her age.
Thank you.
But yeah, we do get the question if we were twins quite a bit. Sometimes if we have the same hairstyle, we look more alike. I personally think our face is similar, but not really alike. What do you think?
I see it in some photos. Do you remember in Rio at our second Olympic Games when people, well, your first, my second, when people were stopping us every 5 minutes and were like,
Oh
my goodness, twins.
Yeah, we'll insert some photos from Rio.
Yes, I mean, I feel like sometimes I see it more than other times, but this weekend that we've been together, I felt like I looked at it, I was like, okay, yeah, I can see it, I guess.
And I think too, as I get older, I think we start to look more alike. Obviously, when I was a child, my face was a little more round, but now I think now that I'm coming to my features, it's like, oh, okay, I can see it. So yeah. We're not twins, clearly. So another question that we get is, what are some of the differences between you two and some of the similarities? So you want to answer this one?
Yes, I think some of the similarities, and you can just chime in as I go, that we both love Jesus.
Yes.
We both love being wives. We both
ran track. I mean, that's a big one.
That is a very big one, a very big similarity. We both love our families a lot.
We both like spicy food. I mean, we grew up eating spice as Nigerians.
Yes.
So I would say that's a similarity. We're both content creators.
Yes.
So follow both of our channels.
Yes. Make sure you follow Cindy Sember. I'll link all of her stuff in the description box.
Yeah. So what are some of the differences?
Yes, the differences, I think most people say I might be a little bit louder.
More extroverted?
Yeah.
I mean, we're both, you're not really an introvert, but I can see Tiffany being an introvert in some circumstances, but for the most part, she's an extrovert. And I would say I can be an introvert, extrovert. Okay. Both, more so.
I think that's fair.
Yeah. I would say she's more type A. I think I'm type A sometimes. It depends on the situation. But type B, I would say we're different in that regard.
I am very type A. I'm almost type A to a fault.
Yes. Whereas I'm a little more chill, but certain circumstances I can't be.
I just think the generational difference. I do think the older that my sister gets, the less large our age gap feels. But then sometimes she reminds me that, she is 6 years my junior, because some of the stuff that you be saying, and just some of the cultural references is just different.
And vice versa. She'll say things like, I'm like, you grandma? What you talking about?
Proud. Don't play with me. I think another difference that sometimes we don't think about is that I'm more of a science, math type of brain.
Yeah, I would say I'm like English, and I wouldn't really say history, but like that English creative more side, I would say. Yeah. I went to school for education. She went for pharmacy. So
yeah, for sure. We both love to cook. That's one.
Yeah, we both like to cook. We don't really have that many differences. We're pretty similar.
Yeah, we are pretty. Well, you like sweet foods more than I do.
Yeah, she's a salty eater. Yeah, and she snacks a lot more than I do. She loves her some snacks, boy.
I do love to snack.
Another question that we get is, were you guys actually really friends growing up? Like, what's your relationship actually like? And for me personally, growing up, Tiffany was somebody I looked up to. Obviously, she's 6 years older. She's a person I want to be like. And she did so many great things. So it was really hard to have that like friend relationship. It was just more of like, oh, she's my big sister. I don't like her, but I do like her. All that stuff. Yeah. But I think as we got older, we became like really close.
Yes, I would agree. And for me, because there was that 6.5 year age difference, I always felt, and honestly, if I'm being honest, still feel a lot, even now as she's 30, almost like motherly. I felt like she was like my daughter, and I just have always been incredibly protective. You can talk crazy about me, but mess with my sister, we are fighting. Like, don't play with me. Yeah. So I think that dynamic kind of stayed, honestly, for me until like 2015. I feel like when 2015 came around and you were overseas with me training, and we were getting ready for the World Championships together, it was almost like I saw you in a different light. Like a peer, like a friend, like a colleague, like somebody who was like almost like an age mate, more so than I had ever before. That was like to me, like almost like a shifting point.
Interesting.
In our relationship.
That's funny because I actually never knew that, like specifically at that time frame.
It was a very stark for me.
Yeah. Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I would say too, with growing up, we weren't really competitive per se, but like I wanted to, like I'm like, she did that, I want to beat it. So I was always like, my goal is to just like, how can I be better than my sister? But like,
and meanwhile, I was like, she ain't gonna beat it. So yes, competitive in that sense, on the track for sure.
Yeah. But then it was like, as we were competing, and this is another question about how we were as athletes, I would say we were competitive, but we always wanted to see each other do well. It wasn't like, oh, she did bad today, haha. Like, no, I obviously want my sister to do well. I want to do well. We're competitors on the track, but I really want her to run her best. So it was always like that, I would say. I
would always say during that 12 seconds of us running, it felt like, listen, I'm lining up against you, the clock, and these other 7 girls running next to me. But the minute we cross that line, I look for my name and then I look for hers. Because it's like, at the end of the day, she is my sister and is my friend as well. Right. So having that relationship where we are friends, we were training partners, we were competitors, I still feel like that sisterhood kind of trumped all of that.
Yeah, I would say so too. And I think, it was really fun to have like those years together. Not that we're not still friends, but like that was like a time where we did the same thing. Yes. Like, it was actually really cool.
At the same time, because it's like now I look back on track like fondly, like, oh, something that I did such a long time ago and you still being in it. But at one time our careers coincided and that was a lot of fun.
It was so much fun. Like I literally looked forward to practice and training with her. So yeah, it was cool.
Yeah. Another question I think that people often want to know is how we met our spouses, if there's any differences there. And it's actually completely different. So I met my husband, Jeff, at 17 years old at the University of Michigan on the track team. And now 19 years later, we're still married. We were college sweethearts. By the way, if you haven't seen our video on our love story, I'll make sure I'll link it. It's a really fun and cute story. But how did you meet John?
Yeah, very different. So I met John later in life after college. So I had graduated. I was going through an injury, like a big one, and just kind of wanted to figure out, what should I do with my time? So I went to a young adult Christian group or church group, and we ended up meeting there. So John had been coming to the group for a few months. We met there, got engaged literally like a year later, and then got married a year after that. So this was like later in life after we were both a little bit older. So not college sweethearts by any means, because he went to Notre Dame, I went to Michigan, but I also have a video on that if you guys want to watch it as well.
Fun fact, I was there on the first day she met John.
It's so funny. She was there on the first day. She was there on the engagement day, which was the same place that we were at.
And I was at your wedding.
She was my matron of honor. I was her maid of honor.
And then she has had a long-standing relationship with my husband, Jeff. He was at your 16th birthday party. I don't know if you remember that. I actually do remember that.
Like, I was a whole child, let's be honest. So I'm curious, did you have a type before Jeff, or was Jeff kind of like, that was what you dated?
Jeff was my type to a T. I've always been attracted to very intelligent and well-spoken people, very attractive men. He just kind of literally every single thing that I had on my list, he ticked off. So yeah, he was 100% my type, and I knew my type even at 17 years old.
Did you? Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, I would say very similar for me. I always had like a list of things I wanted in a man, and John met all of those. So it was really nice to meet the person that, I had always wanted. Another question that we get is, how are we as athletes?
I don't know. Is there a lot? I feel like that's a question that Jeffrey, my husband, who coached
they did a video on it, but I can say, how about we say it for each other? Because I saw you, you saw me.
Okay. You were the one that it might not be killing it at practice, but when the competition comes, it's like a switch comes off and you go on a war. Like, you were like the competition queen, which is really what matters, right?
Yeah. That's
so funny. Yeah,
I would say for you obviously you went hard at practice. You like to argue a lot. You argued. You and Jeff, at least when Jeff was her coach. Okay, that's what I would say. She'd be like, well, I don't know about this, or she always asks questions. She's very inquisitive.
I was gonna say I was a seasoned athlete by the time my husband started coaching me, and I do think the mark of a good coach is to be able to answer the athlete's questions and have a collaborative approach. Yeah. So I wouldn't say argue.
Okay, but inquisitive, we'll say that. So, yep.
I think another fun question that we often get asked is, if or how so did our parents raise us? Was there any differences? Was the approach the same? What do you think?
I was a little bit more tame. What did you say? I was a little bit more of like a chill child. This is what my parents told me. But you weren't bad. I would just say that, they had to be a little bit more stern with you, where I was just like the rule follower.
Growth follower, maybe. But in terms of being a more tame child, I was a very obedient child, in my opinion. We need to call mom and dad up.
We might need to do that. I mean, I won't say you're not obedient, but you know, you
That's
definitely
exactly what
you
you
went
just
against
said.
the grain. Let's say that.
I mean, rules are sometimes meant to be broken. I'm just saying. But I would kind of somewhat agree with that. But I also feel like parents kind of adapt to their children's personalities.
Yeah,
Do you
for sure.
think their approach to us was different? Because I really felt like my parents were and still are a lot harder on me than they were.
And that could be she's the first daughter.
First daughter
I
in
think
a
that's a little
Nigerian
different.
household.
Yeah, they got a little more chill with me, especially with me being younger. It was just like a long break, and they're just like, okay, well, she'll be all right. Which I turned out pretty well, I would say.
You did turn out very well. Okay, so you would agree that they were harder on me.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Another question we get, which is probably the last question today, is how is our relationship today as sisters?
I mean, don't come out here and embarrass me on YouTube, but I feel as our relationship is really good.
Yeah.
And I feel like the older we get, the closer we get, even though we are in two very different stages in life, I can still relate to you on so many levels.
I agree. And I would consider you my best friend. Like, we talk literally all the time.
Yeah.
And
for sure.
yeah, I think we relate, we get along. I mean, I tell you everything. So yeah, I think we're close, and we're closer than we ever have been. So that's
For
fun.
sure. Shout out to her for being such a good little sister. She all right though. Let me
She
not
knows
be
I'm
too
great.
nice. Let me not be
She's
too
great
nice.
too.
And that is it for the video. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. It was so fun having you on the channel. Thank you so much for joining us, Cindy. Make sure you guys go check out her channel. She gives some amazing fitness and faith content. I will see you guys in the next video. Make sure you share this with somebody that you think might find it interesting, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.
Peace.